Hip-hop has had a lot of characters over the years. You either love them, hate them, or don't care about them. Here's some of the rappers that everyone seems to love. But before we get into it, don't forget to subscribe. Alright, let's get into it. We'll start with Queensbridge rapper Nas. Always with that laid-back demeanor and a voice, Nas came out in 1994 with his classic album Illmatic. He was kind of hailed as one of hip-hop's saviors for the current bunch of rappers who were out at the time, the old school, and even the younger rappers who were coming up at that time. Nas was like hip-hop's hero. He's had his beefs over the years with rappers from his area in Queensbridge, but generally in that area they see him as a god. Throughout his career, Nas had ups and downs, had a lot of hits as well, mainly by himself, but also with the classic song with Lauryn Hill, If I Ruled the World. But in the late 90s, Nas started to have a bit of a dip in popularity. He was still having hits, but it just wasn't the same. This is when Jay-Z released Takeover on Summer Jam and tried to dead his whole career. But it shows the love that Nas got from people that he was able to come out of that, even though he was the underdog. He ended up winning that battle with Jay-Z with the classic diss song Ether, and his career has been on the up ever since, after that releasing Stillmatic album and Godson. He's had multiple albums since then, and he's had a career renaissance with West Coast producer Hit Boy, releasing a whole bunch of Magic albums and King Disease. One thing for sure, the music is hot right now. Even away from music, Nas has been criticized in the past about how smart he is in terms of business in comparison to his contemporaries like Jay-Z, but he's had a lot of success in investments and business in general. He has his own company, Mass Appeal, which he's a partner in. They've been involved in a lot of documentaries, music, and have been heavily involved in the 50th year anniversary of hip-hop shows. But overall, what can you say about Nas? Everybody loves him. If you're a hip-hop head, you love him for the music, and in general, you can't find somebody that has a bad word to say about the Queens MC. Next we got Cameron. The Harlem MC has been around since 1997. He even met Biggie Smalls before he died. Biggie was actually gonna sign him to his label. Cameron's breakthrough into the commercial scene when he done a couple features with Mace, including Horse and Carriage. He's always been able to rap really well, and he always had that cool demeanor about him. Although in his early days he was a bit more aggressive, 'cause that was the times in hip hop. In his early days he was more of a gold artist. He wasn't really making the biggest hits until he went to Rockefeller with Jay-Z, Dame and all them. That's when he brought the Diplomats over with Jewels and Jim Jones, and he had his big song Oh Boy, which I think is one of the best songs in hip hop history. That album went platinum, and it helped Cam get even more popular than he already was. It was in his Rockefeller days when he made pink really popular, and to this day is his iconic color. And who can forget when Cameron went on Bill O'Reilly's show with Dame Dash, and we all remember him saying, "You mad?" That was a classic hip hop moment. But it just showed the humorous side of Cameron. Even with his beef with 50, Cam was clowning 50 on the interview, the initial interview that started the problem, and then 50 came out with a diss song like the next day, and it was all aggressive with guns and all that. And then Cam, being Cam, came out with some comedic response with his Curtis diss song to 50. But overall, it's that laid-back demeanor, that cool Cam sort of swagger that makes people really like Cameron. Again, not many people got a bad word to say about Cam. Even the younger generation, like the Mac Millers and Wiz Khalifas, always bigged up Killer as a big influence in their career. And these days, Cam has kind of left hip-hop in a way. He's doing a sports podcast with Mace, and that's really getting popular online. He's had a few celebrities on there as well. Next, we got Redman, the Brick City MC from the early 90s. He came in the game with Def Squad, with Eric Sermon and Keith Murray. Always been a respected MC, very aggressive, but also had a very comedic aspect to his rapping and to his career. Always had those funny skits in his albums, and I think that's what built a lot of endearment from a lot of fans. You can have fun with Redman. He was around for a long time till he got a really big commercial hit with Christina Aguilera with Let's Get Dirty, and then he's always had collaborative projects with Method Man, including the How High movie, which is a cult classic. And again, another reason why people love Redman, they see that comedic film and you just get drawn to the artist as well. But who can forget the classic Cribs episode as well? Cribs was always a show that celebrities would show an immaculate mansion, massive, in a great area by the beach or some nice neighborhood, a massive swimming pool. Redman is a different kettle of fish. His one looked like it was just in the middle of the hood. It was all dirty. It was really small. If it was a normal person's house, not a celebrity, you wouldn't think anything of it. But as we're accustomed to what we're seeing on the cribs, it was hilarious where he lived. It was almost like he was a joke, which it probably was knowing Redman. There's that jokey side and that charismatic swag. It's definitely a reason why Redman is one of the most loved characters in hip-hop history. Next we have Snoop Dogg. Uncle Snoop came in the game on Dr. Dre's The Chronic, writing and rapping on that album. And the buzz for his album was so great in hip-hop. Everybody was looking forward to Snoop's debut album. When it came out, Doggy Style was the biggest debuting album in hip-hop history. Snoop also had the controversial murder trial, but he beat that in 95, 96. But then he left Death Row Records after Tupac was killed and Suge Knight went to jail. Snoop went into a bit of a lull. Many years he was with Master P's label, No Limit Records, where he still was quite popular in hip-hop, but his popularity definitely waned quite a lot. Until Pharrell Williams came along with some hit records like Beautiful and Drop It Like It's Hot. This got Snoop back into the conversation of being one of the main rappers in hip-hop. Snoop then propelled into a really mainstream celebrity, doing shows with Martha Stewart, movies. He's actually one of these artists that you can see him doing something gangster, then doing something in comedy, cooking shows. He's like hip-hop's uncle, and that's why you gotta love Snoop. In summary, Snoop has always been that smiley, laid-back rapper, known for smoking his green, worked with every artist in the game really, in different generations, and still providing good quality music. Next we got Ludacris. Came out in 2000 with his debut album. The southern rapper has always had that larger than life personality. You see it all the time in his videos, always very expressive. One of my favorite ones was Stand Up, when he had that big trainer on his shoe, stomping on the ground. His trademark braids and brash flow made him a real popular artist back in the early 2000s. He even went into movies, has starred in a lot of the Fast and Furious franchise films and other films that he's done well in. I wouldn't say he's the best actor, but he's definitely branched off from music to Hollywood. But he's a rapper that hasn't had many beefs. I can only remember one with T.I. that lasted like 2 seconds. He doesn't get the respect he should do as a lyricist, but he's definitely one of hip-hop's most loved personalities. Coming in next is Wiz Khalifa. Wiz is definitely one of the most adored rappers in the game in the last decade or so. His debut album Rolling Papers in 2011 had the big song Black and Yellow, which was all over the place. It really put his hometown on the map in terms of hip-hop. The reasons why people love Wiz: he's always smiling, he's got that classic Wiz Khalifa laugh that sounds almost like a child, and like Snoop, he's a big advocate of the weed game. He still makes music, but he's not as popular as he was when he first came out. But his music still is out there. A couple good songs I've heard recently that was pretty good. And then he's also moved into fitness, doing all these flying kicks on social media. But overall, Wiz definitely has to be one of hip-hop's most adored characters. Always smiling, always laughing, always got a positive attitude. He's definitely got to make the list. Who would you put down as hip-hop's most loved artists? Nobody has a bad word to say about them. No matter what generation, they all kind of love that artist. Let me know in the comments, y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. It's Fresh Hip Hop Opinion.